Okay, I'm back. So please excuse the laying down. Like I said, surgery 4 days ago, and I'm trying to rest as much as possible. Um, so once I got all my clearances and everything, we scheduled, and I asked for June 29th for a specific reason, like I said in the previous video. And the way it works down here, I live in Tallahassee, Florida. The way it works down here is you call the hospital the day before and they let you know what time you need to be at the hospital the next day. And of course I had to be there at 6 o'clock in the morning and I was like, oh, great. But we got there. I hate to say I was like 5 or 6 minutes late, but it wasn't a huge deal. I was just waiting anyway. But I got there and they brought me back. The setup is very similar to when you're in an ER situation where they've got the beds with the curtains. And then they just bring you back. Then a nurse came over and she put a IV, the needle, in my hand, so that they could put fluids in, and then that's where the anesthesia goes, things like that. And I was just waiting, for whatever. They tell you to completely undress, just wear a hospital gown. It's easier for the surgeons to do what they need to do. And then they gave me a Zofran, which is for nausea. It's one of those little dissolvable pills that you put under your tongue. And then they gave me something else. I can't remember. Shoot. I think it might have been a muscle relaxer or something like that. And it was more of so it'll kick in by the time the surgery's done type of a thing. My surgeon had told me that the surgery was going to be 45 minutes, but I would be out for about an hour and 15 with the anesthesia because it takes them some time to set up and all that other stuff. So my hubby came with me, and then I think it was around 20 to 8. I told him, go ahead, leave for work. I know he didn't really like leaving me like that, but I mean, it is what it is. We have jobs, So he left for work, and within 20 minutes, the anesthesiologist came in and, talked to me, asked some questions like, do I have any metal in my body? Things like that. And then they start wheeling me back, and I've had surgery before a couple times. One was really minor, and then I had gallbladder removal like 13 years ago now. And it still never stops being scary seeing yourself wheeled into an OR. Like, it's creepy, but whatever. But they were really accommodating, and it was funny because I wasn't really scared about the surgery itself. I personally don't like being put under anesthesia. I definitely have ADHD and my anxiety on top of it, so any loss of time really freaks me out. It makes a lot of sense why I don't really like to drink, because when you get drunk and you black out, you lose time, so that freaks me out. So I was getting really nervous about that, but I had told my husband, and I was joking with him saying, it's really funny how like they make you count down, and you're thinking you're going to count to like from 10 to 1, and then by the time you hit like 6, you're already out, Well, these guys were slick, and they were getting me ready, and it was the anesthesiologist and a male nurse. And they had me move from the bed that I was in to the actual operating room bed. And there was just a whole bunch of different things that were going on. And I think they do that purposely because then like you don't really know what to focus on. But I don't know why this occurred to me, but I asked the anesthesiologist, hey, do people snore when they're under? And he started laughing, and he said, honestly, it's very rare, but yes, they do. And he's like, once in a while, it's a problem. We got to do something about it. And I thought that was really funny. Little did I know the anesthesia was already going into my system. I didn't burn. It wasn't cold, so I didn't feel it. And I want to say probably 30 seconds later, I was out. So there was no countdown, nothing like that. And it was, at least when I was out, I was laughing right before, I wasn't scared or anything. So I was grateful for that. I was told after the surgery that I would be put in a recovery room, which is standard, but like I said, I don't like anesthesia, and one of the reasons is when I get anesthesia, I sleep for a long time. You know, some people can bounce back from it. I just stay asleep. Probably because it's my brain saying, listen, you never rest. Shut up. You know, like, calm down. But let me see, that was about 8, and the surgery would have been about an hour and 15. So I want to say around 9:30 or so, everything was probably done. And they put me in a recovery room, but I never woke up. So I don't remember that at all. But when I did wake up, it was around 11 or 11:30, and I was actually in my own hospital bed at that point, like my own room. So that was cool. I had my surgery done at Capital Regional Medical Center in Tallahassee, which is now known as HCA Florida Capital Hospital. Really long, weird name. And a lot of people talk crap about that hospital because there's another hospital called Tallahassee Memorial, and they're like a much bigger hospital. But I personally have had very good experiences with Capital Regional. I have not had any issues with them. There has never been anyone that's been nasty to me or, you know, a jerk. I've had nothing but good experiences there. So I speak very highly of them. And yeah, so that day I would say that I probably slept about 90% of the day, if not more. My husband and our kids did come to visit me, but I was so out of it that I just said, you know, you don't need to stay, because I was just closing my eyes repeatedly. When you wake up from the surgery, there's a number of things they do. They're giving you IV fluids. They start you off with a bottle of acetaminophen with the IV as well, for pain. And they also put some antibiotics in there just in case. It's all precautionary. Then they give you a muscle relaxer. For me, they gave me something called Flexeril, but there's really no point in mentioning the name because it might not be the same for you. They give you a stool softener because you just had like 80% of your stomach taken out through your belly button area. Like, if you try to go to the bathroom, it's gonna hurt. So they try to make that as easy as possible. They give you, I forget the name of it, but it's a pill that they give you to stop the production of stomach acid, and that just helps the stomach at its new size heal a lot faster. And then I was taking my regular anxiety meds, and then also they continued to give me Zofran in case I was nauseous. And then after the anesthesia had worn off on the second day, so that would be Friday, I was starting to feel the pain a little bit more, and I will say it was never horrible because they were managing it very well. But they started to give me some oxycodone to help, and so I've been on that for a couple of days. And the only issue is that the muscle relaxer and the oxycodone together knock me out. So Thursday, most of the day I was sleeping. Friday, most of the day I was sleeping. And then they told me I could go home. So my husband came and got me right at the end of work. And Friday night I slept most of the night. Saturday I slept most of the day. And then yesterday I started to feel a little bit better. And today I've only taken the oxycodone once. Well, I'm lying. The last time I took it before, like 20 minutes ago, was at 4 o'clock this morning from last night into today. So the pain is pretty much gone at this point, other than the gas pains. Now that is something, if you have laparoscopic surgery, I'm going to mention it because I didn't know with my first surgery that I had laparoscopically that this was a thing. Nobody mentioned it to me. But they fill whatever area they're going to with gas, and it just makes it easier to move your organs around. So they fill the area with gas, and I was under the assumption that you just pass gas or you burp it out, but you don't. What happens is your muscles absorb it, and for the most part it's not terrible, but every now and again you'll feel it like in your stomach down here, and then it shoots up, and it, for whatever reason, it likes to sit like right in your chest or in your shoulder, and that hurts. That's really uncomfortable. But for the most part, I mean, I'm really not in any pain. I'm sore, but it's not really terrible. Let's see, the car ride home, that was bad because Tallahassee's very bumpy. And every time we hit a bump, I was cursing my doctor's name, but it wasn't his fault. And my husband was doing his best to not hit the bumps, but like I said, the roads are bumpy here, so he couldn't help it. But then we went out today because I just wanted to walk. That is one thing that helps with the gas dissipating and getting rid of those pains is walking. So much so that they make you walk the day of surgery, because otherwise you're going to be in excruciating pain from the gas. But I just wanted to walk today. So we went to a couple of stores just to look around, and that helped a lot. And that's about it. So that is the process to getting VSG surgery. If you don't know what that is, that's a gastric sleeve. And one interesting little tidbit I will tell you, because I didn't know this, and it's funny because I had done a lot of research, but nobody mentioned this in any of the videos that I had seen. One of the reasons that gastric sleeve is so successful is, yes, obviously you're shrinking down the size of the stomach. I mean, that's common sense. You can't fit as much, so you're going to eat less. But one of the big things that they do, because if you think about the shape of the stomach, you know, they can go this way. Why do they go like this? Why do they make it like a banana shape, right? Well, on the part that they cut out on the very bottom, that's where your hunger hormone, which is called ghrelin, I believe, is produced, most of it. So they're cutting out a large portion of the area that makes your hunger hormone, so you don't feel hungry. You just don't. And I can tell you, I'm a person that gets hangry. Like, when I haven't eaten, I start to get a headache, and you got like 20 minutes to feed me or I'm a different person. But I don't think that's going to be a thing anymore because you just don't get hungry. But I kind of like that better because now I can be more intentional about what I'm eating, and instead of, oh, I'm starving, let me just get the easiest thing, you know, stuff like that. But that's the process of getting gastric sleeve surgery. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'd be happy to answer them. Okay, bye guys.